Precious Lord, speak through these words if they're worthy. If they're not, speak in spite of them. Amen. So, Peter got some marching orders today. 3 of them. Feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep. Now, it's also probably just one order given 3 different ways, but I'm reminded that he said 3 times, yes, I love you. He was given 3 instructions, and I'm reminded that he was forgiven for having denied Jesus 3 times. And so that has come full circle. In the eyes of the Lord, he has made sure Peter knew he was redeemed. It's been a year, y'all. I don't mean it's been a year since this date last year. I mean, this has been a year. It's been a semester. In these last couple of weeks, wow. And I always have mixed feelings at this time of the year about the end of the spring semester. I'm glad for you that your hectic workload that you have is behind you. And I am glad that most of you have a couple of months of relative free time and that you don't have all of the usual pressures of your life plus school. But I do miss you all terribly. And don't get me wrong, I have other people in my life, and I fill the summer with many things, like getting ready for the fall semester and staffing Waycross Camp as chaplain. And I take a handful of trips for conferences or other work-related things, and my wife and I find plenty of time to get away to be with our family. And at the end of some springs, I know that I'm not going to see some Canterburyans again because they graduate. Now, again, I'm happy for you. I want you all to get your degrees and go out there and build your best life and build community, build that community with other people as well as with God. But still, that last long goodbye is hard. And then we have today's gospel, a bit of a sending off in its own right. It's Jesus's 3rd resurrection appearance to the disciples in John. It is a long one. There are at least 20 sermons easily in that whole text. You may have noticed that this passage at the end of Jesus' ministry or at the beginning of the resurrection and the ministry of the church is a mirror to the events of Luke 5. And that's when Jesus first meets a lot of the disciples. They were fishing. He was on the beach. They had no idea who he was because it was their first time ever seeing him. They had not caught any fish. And he told them, well, go throw your nets over there and see what you get. Just like today. And again, that time they got in more fish than they could handle. I am impressed that so much of today's gospel brings a bookend to things we've seen at the beginning and at the end and at other points in Jesus' ministry. There are dozens more. I'm not going to go into all of them. At the end of the Luke passage at the beginning of Jesus' ministry, Jesus tells Peter that he and the others will now be fishers of people. In today's passage, he tells Peter to tend to and feed Jesus' sheep. So either way, it's the beginning of a new ministry for Peter and the disciples. I'm reminded by the passage where we have brand new disciples and now disciples with a brand new ministry from today's gospel, that we've had this year here many, many brand new folks. So many have come through and most of them have stayed to be with us. And I find it delightful thinking that you are here still Well, first, you were here because you wanted to come and see for yourself how God is alive in Canterbury House. Most of you, I'm excited to say, we didn't necessarily find you. You came and you found us. So that fishing metaphor doesn't work quite as much for us in that sense right now, but that's all right. And you stayed, and you keep coming back. Because somehow this wonderful community with the presence of God, the Creator, the Redeemer, and our sacred companion feeds your spirit. And that's awesome. Because in case you have forgotten, individually, and especially all of you collectively as a tribe, are beautiful. And you know, in your own way, whether through here or simply affirmed here, you know that you are beloved of God. And over the 4 years I've been here, I've watched as you all have grown more and more to love each other. And each of you knows how much you belong. You are beautiful. You are beloved. You belong, not just here, but in the world God made. So now for the downer, again, we're physically splitting up for a bit. Oh, a small handful of us are staying in town for some reason, for some or for all of the summer. Good reasons, whatever they are. We're glad you're staying. Now, a lot of us are going home for most of the summer. Some of you really cool kids, one of whom's in the room and one of whom's on the Zoom, are going to other countries and flexing. It's all right. And so as we go our physically separate ways for a time, I wonder what Christ is asking of each of us while we go out also as his disciples. Not quite 2 by 2. It's not quite a post-resurrection forming of a church, but we are creating a temporary Canterbury diaspora. And so while we're out there, what is Jesus calling us to do? Feed his sheep and tend his lambs. Feed who? Do we know yet? Tend and care for who? Have we met them yet? More importantly, who will we trust to feed and tend and care for us? I said this has been a year, certainly this calendar year and this past semester, as if we didn't have enough to worry about juggling all of our lives with the added weight you all have of seeking a 4-year or an advanced degree. As if that wasn't enough to worry about, we find many of us are wondering and worrying about people's safety, maybe even our own. Now, we will, at the end of today's service, we will affirm our efforts and our work and ourselves as disciples of Jesus. We'll promise to do as we can to continue to be the ministers of God that God calls us to be, even as we recuperate and recreate or recreate and rest. I will be praying for each of you, knowing that you will be praying for each other, collectively and individually. I will be, as I always am doing, trying to keep in touch with you without being a pest through Discord, where you all are so chatty. And I will be praying for all of your experiences, for you to continue to find yourself and to find God and to find love and to find joy and growth in your summer activities. So, dear ones, let us all this summer remember who we are, remember whose we are, as we grow more into God, who God has us becoming. And let's remember and all come back together, all the richer for our time apart. But never, ever, ever forget, you are beautiful, you are beloved, you belong. Amen.
Amen.